On Saturday, the quietest day of the week, the airport has a runway lighting replacement program. The airport duty manager briefs the ATC supervisor, and it is agreed that the works vehicles will require 10 minutes notice to vacate the runway for operational use. Visibility is poor. There had been fog in the morning and the afternoon has stayed misty. The location of the work is outside of the ATC tower visual range. 3 vehicles approach the runway, led by Ops 1. The controller issues a runway entry clearance and places a runway occupied strip in the runway bay of his flight data display. 20 minutes later, the morning ATC shift ends. The off-going controller briefs the new controller that Ops 1 and works vehicles are on the runway and need 10 minutes notice to vacate. At this point, the works vehicles have been on the runway for 30 minutes without any communication with ATC. ATC notifies Ops 1 of a pending departure on runway 25, 20 minutes away. When one of the replacement fittings breaks, the team agrees that they have enough time to go fetch another one. Works 6 stays on the runway, while Ops 1 and Works 4 move to a nearby runway exit, telling the controller Ops 1 and Works 4 runway vacated. The controller assumes this is in response to her pre-warning and believes that the runway is now available. She removes the runway occupied strip. When the pending departure calls for taxi earlier than expected, she gives taxi and lineup clearance. Meanwhile, Ops 1 is on his way back to the runway with the replacement part. When ATC clears him to holding point Alpha 2, he thinks it odd not to be cleared directly onto the runway, but doesn't say anything. On the runway, the 2 workers are outside of the vehicle. They can't hear the radio clearly. When the jet is cleared for takeoff, the noise on the runway increases and the workers become concerned. When the aircraft comes out of the mist, they get into the vehicle and drive its speed to the edge of the runway. Phew, just in time. How can we prevent this? ATC providers. ATC displays should have information on all individual runway occupants, not just a generic runway occupied strip. Consider procedures that don't allow work on an active runway outside of the ATC tower visual range, either directly or by remote means. Controllers should not allow any runway movement until a clear runway available for use message has been received. Airport operators. The lead vehicle should transmit reminders such as Ops 1 on runway 25 at regular intervals, and end with a runway vacated and available for use message. Ground vehicles on the runway should be on the same RTF frequency as the aircraft. They should make sure that somebody can hear the radio clearly at all times. Airport workers should maintain situational awareness by visual scan and by monitoring RT traffic. If concerned, they should contact ATC or vacate the runway as fast as possible. Learn more about Runway Occupied on SKYclip.